And so good afternoon and welcome to this joint webinar between the Jersey Chamber of Commerce and the Jersey Hospitality Association, also the Antigua and Barbuda Hospitality Training Institute and the Antigua and Barbuda Hotels and Tourism Association. And you see all the main players sitting on your screen comfortably in sunny Jersey or slightly warmer, I wager, Antigua joining us live. It's good to have your company. Thank you very much indeed for those who are just joining us and want to watch this webinar. It's great to have your company this afternoon. We will be joined by Rebecca Miller from the Government of Jersey in the fullness of time. Before we do all of that, just a warm welcome from the Jersey Chamber of Commerce. My name is Murray Norton. I'm the Chief Executive, as it says right underneath, along with Claire Bosque from the CEO of the Jersey Hospitality Association. We're just going to take you through the new Memorandum of Understanding, the new partnership between the Government of Jersey and the Government of Antigua, and if you like, a partnership between the Chamber of Commerce and the Jersey Hospitality Association with our respective opposite numbers that you can see on your screen right now from Antigua. The idea is to assist and help in training, development and recruitment with the island of Jersey as we move into our summer season and in fact into the low season for Antigua and Barbuda. The idea from this is not a new one, but it's certainly one that we must thank the Government of Jersey and two departments in particular, the Department of Economy, who have helped facilitate some of the work that's gone on in the background, and also the Department of External Relations, who did some of the early work looking around the globe and seeing where this art of possible where it really was. And Claire and I were on those very original discussions, and it's so nice to see where we are now from where we started those conversations, Claire. So I'm going to bring you in at this point and allow you to have a little bit of an introduction before we move our way into how this will work and how it will benefit for other people. Claire.
Hello, everybody. Yes, I'm Claire Bosque. Most of you probably will know me, but CEO of the Jersey Hospitality Association. 6 months in, a little bit more than 6 months now. And actually, I think we started this conversation just about when I started. So it is an amazing journey that we've had over the last kind of 5 or 6 months together. And actually to get here and to be able to do that, I felt really honored last week being part of the signature and being part of this new MOU, new partnership to really help both islands really share our knowledge, our passion, our professionalism on the industry. Hospitality, yes, but moving forward, where else could we go, Murray, right?
Yeah, I think there's, and we've already discussed on that, and there's a terrific line in the Memorandum of Understanding that does talk about digital finance and certainly retail, another area that we're really interested in. So I think we must point out at the beginning, for those who are joining us, thank you again if you've just joined us. This is a pilot scheme for 2022, and let's put the emphasis on this being a pilot scheme. This is outside of other areas of visas and other areas of recruitment from all around the globe, just another area that we can talk about as being a potential benefit to both Antigua and Barbuda, but also to the island of Jersey as well. So that's where we are at this time. So I want to just introduce, first of all, Patrice Simon, who is it Simon or Simon? Because I was never quite certain whether it was one or the other, and I wanted to make sure, the Executive Director of Antigua and Barbuda Hotels and Tourism Association.
Yes, Simon, good morning. It's a pleasure to be here, Murray, with you and with your members.
Thank you very much indeed. Just from the, as a background, the Antigua Barbuda Hotels and Tourism Association, you're representing that hospitality industry in Antigua. I'm right in thinking this now slips into your low season. Would that be right when we get to April?
Yes, the Antigua and Barbuda Hotels and Tourism Association represents 40 of the major properties that are here on Antigua and Barbuda, so the majority of the room nights on island. And our traditional low season is normally between April to November. Mm-hmm. So your winter is our peak. So we're just on the tail end of that. So we'll be approaching our quieter months very soon. We hope not too quiet, considering you still want to keep businesses going, but we do have quite a few of our members who would traditionally close during this time as well for soft refurbishments, etc. So the partnership makes sense for us as we, move into discussing it more.
Okay, we'll move into discussing it a little bit more very shortly. Mrs. Ruthlyn Matthias, who's the Executive Director of the Association of Antigua and Barbuda Hospitality Training Institute. It's a big, long business card there. Great to have your company as well. Thank you very much for joining.
Yes, good morning all. Great for me to be here. I'm so happy that we are in collaboration with the ministry, our Ministry of Tourism, and in particular with Patrice's association. They have been our closest affiliate. So we're happy to be right on board here with this exciting unfolding of this Jersey project. So we are all exciting and raring to go as well.
May I just ask just a little bit about the Hospitality Training Institute, because I've heard wonderful things about it, but just as a way of background, just so our members can
yes, the Antigua and Barbuda Hospitality Training Institute is formerly known as the Hotel Training School or the Hotel Training Center, and we are in excess of 40 years of training on island, so it's a national gem really, and we are tasked with producing or helping to produce professionals in the field. So we may have school leavers, or we may have adults who may have been working in the industry who have not certified themselves. And just to backtrack a bit, the name was changed in about 2008 to the Hospitality Training Institute to ensure that we're not just hotel-centric, but that we were getting all the areas and components of the tourism and hospitality industry. So we are been charging along and have good results. We have our graduates all over the world, and so we're excited now to help them to get to Jersey.
Where's your most regular market, if you like, for sending students when if students and those who qualify do move on in the industry? Do they go to particular cities normally? Hopefully Jersey as well now.
We don't have a set area per se, but they normally populate our local market firstly, and in time they go all over the world. I think Patrice met somebody in Dubai very recently, they go to Barbados, Belize. Once they excel at their companies, they usually are outsourced. So that could be a little tricky sometimes for us, but we want to keep some at home as well.
Okay, we'll come back to why the MOU, the Memorandum of Understanding, in a little while, and hopefully Rebecca Miller will be joining us to talk through that a little bit more.
Yes. Before
we do anything else, let's talk about the criteria of the Memorandum of Understanding, and let's talk about the criteria, because the idea is, and I know Claire will go into more detail on this. We have a group of employers in Jersey who are very, very hungry for talented staff. You have a group of talented staff, and we need to match them together. So that's it in simple terms. Claire, just take us through. How does this work?
Yes, so the idea was really to that short term, let's just get on it and do something so we can really kind of help, the next 6 months. So the idea of the MOU was really to look at a 6 months contract, which will, which goes between the winter and summer. So the contract will be between April and September, or May if they arrive a little bit later, but it is a 6 months contract, so you will only be required to apply for permits. No visa will be required, and also they will have to go home after their 6 months. So if you really enjoy them and you really love them and you really would like them to come back, they will have to come back another time. They won't be able to actually stay on island. They will have to go home, do their summer in Antigua and Barbuda, and then come back the year after. The MOU is a 3 years MOU that we're looking at. Like we said earlier with Murray, potentially, we're looking at, other locations potentially, but also bringing into other industries as well. What you will be required, so the MOU is for you as an employer in Jersey. you will take the responsibility for their flights and their permit. And once they arrive on the island, then you're of course looking after them. You provide accommodations, food, and everything else that you normally provide, training as well. There are going to be, and maybe I'll leave that bit for Patrice to talk about, but they are given some training before they arrive on the island through Patrice and through their training, but I'll let Patrice explain a lot more about that. We are in Jersey also have 2 days on hold. It may be 3 days, it may be 4 days. We're just waiting to see in terms of numbers, but we'll do a full day training. Half a day will be a tour around the island. We've got a couple of tour guides as well, which will be joining us. A lunch at Highland College and an afternoon, which will be at Highland College. A little bit about British etiquette, a little bit about customer service and their expectations. So they feel nicely and welcome and they're understanding the island a little bit when before they kickstart. So this will be early May. So we have got time for everybody to kind of arrive. But everybody is kind of really roaring to go, and we have got a number of about 100 people to come on the island, and so it's very exciting. And really, you know, if they can start by the 15th of April, that's kind of the figures we had in mind, didn't we? That would just be really, really cool, and we could really do a great things to welcoming them on the island.
Okay, Patrice, I'm going to come to you at this point because you have some very, very talented staff, evidently, and you know, all credit to the work that has been done in Antigua and Barbuda, and for your home needs within the islands that you have. How do those employees, those students, then find out about jobs? Let's just talk about the portals that have been built, because there's some really important easy access for both the employers and also the employees. Let's just take it from an employee perspective first, Patrice. Okay. So there's a young employee there, or not young employee, an employee, and they're very keen to come and work in Jersey. What do they know about Jersey, and how do they get to Jersey?
Mm-hmm. I'd really like to assure everyone on the call that for us here, we thought very deeply about who will be selected for this experience. And the first thing, of course, came to mind is that every individual who steps foot into Jersey is an ambassador for Antigua and Barbuda. So we want to ensure that we fit the right people, of course, with the right jobs in the destination. So there are 3 categories of employees that we've looked at. First would be graduates of the Antigua and Barbuda Hospitality Training Institute. Second would be employees of our member properties. As I mentioned, these are individuals who would have worked at least 3 years in the hotel that they're employed in, and they are recommended by their human resource managers. So we want the best of the best. And then the third category of employee would be other hospitality professionals. It could be persons who have, you know, gone into self-employment since the pandemic. It might be persons who are still unemployed in the sector since the pandemic. But those individuals are going through a vetting process in our office. They have to go through a layer of interview here locally before they even step up to get to the portal to see the jobs that will be uploaded from the Jersey side. So that's it. We have a portal. It's a secure portal where the employees and the employers will connect. Now, I can share my page if that's okay, Murray.
Please do.
Okay, so I'm actually already logged into the portal. The portal has a front page, and that front page gives access to both the employee, who we will now refer to as the candidate, and the employer. So the employee or the candidate, once they've approved from those 3 categories, our office will then issue them their login credentials, okay? And once they log in, they'll be able to have full access to the site. If you were to go to workinjersey.org right now, you will not be able to access any of these links until we have given you your credentials. As an employer, very important for you now, your login credentials now can be created, and all those details will be shared with you, a step-by-step process in how you get your login details. You can post a job, and you'll be able to interact with the employees on this platform. So we've made it, one, secure, and also two, very functional to ensure that the candidate and the employees are connecting.
That was very well explained. It could be very complicated. I'll let you continue.
Sure, thank you, Mark. And very key, so we've looked at here, an employee can come on and look at the recent jobs. And of course, we've had the magic question, where is Jersey? Is that New Jersey in the US, right? So we've had a lot of those questions. I'm sure Mrs. Matthias has had as well. So we've had, some information populated so we can all learn about Jersey. And of course, we have the categories of jobs. As an employer, when you're uploading a job, you have to place it within 3 categories: chef, middle management, frontline positions. So if I'm logging on and I'm interested in a chef, I will know exactly how many jobs have been posted in that category. And another key thing is we want to celebrate the employees as they gain jobs in Jersey. We want to highlight them there. So there's a section here on the site where, as persons are employed, we want you to share that feedback back to us. Patrice has gained a job at a resort in Jersey, and then we'll actually contact them to get a testimonial so they could tell us, how excited they are to come and be ambassadors for Antigua and Barbuda. Now, we give prep information as well, job interview prep, resume prep, and we also have a training program. I don't know if you want me to go into the training now, or we can touch on that in a bit.
I was very interested in the EASE training program. I like the name of it already.
Yes, we are asking our employees to ease into the work experience at Jersey. So EASE is simply exceeding all service expectations. That's actually an association branded course, which we were meant to launch in October, but we brought it forward for this program because we thought it was well suited. And it's well suited to make sure we are topping them up with that high level of customer service knowledge before they leave. And what's great is that Claire is jumping into the session as well, because we want to understand the cultural variances between our destinations and making sure that when that employee buckles that seatbelt, they're ready for the Jersey experience. So that's why EASE is extremely important. Every single employee will have to complete this, and they will gain their EASE pin. So we expect them to see them showing up at your doors with their EASE pin, knowing that they have completed this program here in Antigua and Barbuda.
Thank you for taking us through that. I really appreciate that. So that portal is for both sides, for employers and employees to jump in and do that. Going to bring you in here, Mrs. Matthias, if I may, just in terms of the work that's been going on and where you see it with this platform. You've been working with some of these students who are coming through, and you're confident, of that first 100 need. I think that we know there's a need in Jersey, and you've got a ready supply in Antigua and Barbuda.
Oh, we'll be sharing that number with Patrice's population as well. But as Patrice stated, we are not just looking at the interest that they have shown, but we will also be doing our interviews. We are looking for persons who are inspiring, engaging, so that we could send persons who are ready for this job. As Patrice said, once they have left our shores, we want to be confident that they are ready and that they will be fit for purpose. So we will be doing our days of interviewing firstly before they then get to the portal, and we will make the recommendations to Patrice of the persons. And we have a strong culinary program. We have lots of ready graduates in that area. We have hospitality management, and in recent times we have added tourism and resort management. So we're hoping that persons in the other areas, other than the chef culinary program, other than culinary arts, we are hoping that we could have a reasonable number to fill those the middle management positions. So that's what we're working on right now. We are also reaching out to some persons, having done the official launch last week. We've been fielding lots of calls. So we're just encouraging them to, bring your resume, and we will be conducting interviews this week. So we will be preparing them to send that recommended list to Patrice so they can then do that step that Patrice so ably explained just now, that they will be able to go post their resume, check for the jobs. So, you know, we are hoping that it will all work as planned.
Okay, we talked about, in fact, Claire talked about dates as soon as possible, mid-April if you could. Is that realistic? Is there the opportunity, do you think, for the first arrivals on this scheme to be starting in mid-April? Do you think that we can move that quickly? Is it that nimble?
Well, ideally, even if it's not the full quota of 100, I'm sure we will have some persons who will be nimble enough to move. We have some entrepreneurs, we have persons who are private, you know, work seasonally. I'm confident we could get some Patrice, maybe not the full 100.
Yeah,
Who knows? Maybe we do.
I just want to thank Mrs. Matthias. Sorry, Mrs. Matthias. I just want to thank you and the entire team, because once we launched, we set some really tight timelines. And those tight timelines were in keeping with what we understand that your needs are. So, for instance, the interview process that we'll be going through will happen on the 28th of March, and then we go straight into training. So we're hoping certainly by the 4th of April that we will complete the training exercise here in Antigua, but then the work permit process could have already begun because those employees would have already been notified that they would have gained a job successfully in Jersey. So we're working along with you to keep it really tight. And I have to say, it's been an overwhelming response in our office. I tell my team members to keep a bottle of water at their desk because they're repeating themselves several times a day as calls come into the office. As of Friday, we had almost 50 resumes in our office after 2 days of talking about this, and today close to 100. So it's time for us now to go through the paperwork and pick the best candidates.
We've made it a very busy time for you. Our apologies for that, but I hope it works. People will notice that there is a Q&A box at the bottom of the screen there. It says Q&A and a couple of little bubbles above it there. So if you're watching this at the moment and you're thinking, hang on, here's a question I'd like to ask. Well, I think you've got the main players all on your screen. So now's the time to be doing that. And if you have a question, then please let us have it. Drop it in the box there. It'll pop up on my screen and I can ask those questions as they come up. So don't be afraid if you have a question or two. We haven't got very long. So please do pop those questions into the box as soon as possible. Claire, from the appetite that we're seeing which we've known about in Jersey, both you and I, certainly over the last 6 months, probably over the last 3 years, 4 years, there is a real need in Jersey. And it's the one sector, certainly in hospitality, we hear it also in retail and we hear it in other sectors too. There is a real need for talented staff, and we have jobs here waiting to be filled. We've known that for a long time. That's made it very difficult for a great deal of the sector leads in Jersey. Do you think they're going to really jump on this very quickly?
Well, I hope so. I hope so. And it's nice just to see everybody who's in the chat, you know, looking at the names, recognizing some of those names. You know, that's one of the routes that we're looking at to really kind of increase, you know, our recruitment procedures after the last couple of years with having lost so many staff. I think the key word in what you said, Murray, was talented, and that skilled, you know, in hospitality is probably key. We want to have people who've got passion, we've got great attitude, we've got, you know, skills behind, so when they arrive they're ready to rumble. You know, yes, you may have to train them and show them around your own hotel, but they would have had, they know what they're doing. So I think that will also be a big relief for the employers locally to be able to know that they've got some staff which know what they're doing most of the time, I'm sure.
Okay, let's get some questions in. We've got questions here. First question comes in, no name to it, but how do Jersey employers sign up to the online portal? Quick question, quick answer from you, please, Claire.
shall I share the screen then,
Please
Laura,
do.
and show?
Please do.
Okay, so yes, let me show you that. So I have put the PDF in the chats if you want to download it, but let me just run you through this. So you're going on to workinjersey.org/register, and you register as an employer. Your name, once the registering has been done, it will be sent and you will receive an approval email with your login details. Next, you will go into the page as a login, put your users and password in there, and then you will be able to add your profile in your company. So you go to the dashboard, you'll be able to look at your company, and then you'll be able to start adding the job. So company details, you can put anything that you want, videos, photos, you know, all those kind of things. Preview it, make sure that you're happy with it, submit it as a company, and then you will be able to add new jobs. So there's the chance where you're starting to put your vacancies, and so you will start submit the jobs, what jobs it is, and you put all the details in there. So again, very simple, very easy to follow. You'll just have to put the job descriptions, email, closing date, those kind of details. And this is it. You know, salaries, of course, you preview it and then you submit it. So very, very simply, you'll be able to log in, put your details in, and would Bob Ewine calls the right way to say it?
Yes, Robert en votre oncle. Yes, you're very, very. Yeah. Bob's your uncle, I think, would be the phrase that we use somewhere in the world anyway. So thank you for that, Claire, and that answers that first question very well. Now we have Drior, who says, how soon can we get to the login and advertise these positions? Which was very much my next question. It's obvious that people are very, very keen. So how soon can they register?
Now, go and do it now. Now we're waiting for you.
Right, there you go. That's as good as it gets. Right now, please.
Right now.
So you go to Work in Jersey, and the email address. Just remind me, Claire, you've got it up there somewhere.
Yeah, I will put it in the chat, so actually people can actually just log in, just click on the link directly, and look, they'll be able to just jump in straight away on it.
Excellent. We might see some people registered before we're off this.
There we go. How exciting!
Yeah.
Who will be the first?
Good. Who will be the first? So we've answered that one, which is good. How will we arrange bank accounts for candidates? That's a really good question.
Okay, so I can answer that one if you want. We work with HSBC, which is one of our partners. They can actually come to your hotel and they can just register everybody at the same time. So we can arrange for them to come in and do everybody at once. So we'll get that organized. Let me know when, how, and then I'll introduce you to the right person.
Excellent, good. It's workinjersey.org/register if you want that link, by the way. Thank you very much indeed for that. Zara with a couple of questions. Zara Churton, who says, how does the contractual side work if either party is unhappy? Is there a notice period to be worked out? That's a good question. I'm guessing that there is a notice period. It will depend on the contract of employment between the employer and the employee. And this is an area where the Chamber of Commerce, the Jersey Hospitality, and all other interested parties, Government of Jersey, say this is an employment contract, regardless. And an employment contract is an employment contract, and it depends what it says in your employment contract. So it'll be in the detail. Zara says we have a restaurant opening in July. Would we be able to apply for a candidate in July until November? When's the cutoff date? You're saying no there, Claire?
Yeah, I believe it is April to September. So if they come in July, they may only be able to come for the 3 months.
Mm-hmm. July, August, September. Still might be worth it if you're looking for people. But Zara, thank you for your questions. Are the candidates graduates? It says here, as the candidate graduates, will they be able to recruit entry-level positions or only supervisory level and up? I'll read that again. As the candidates are graduates, will we be able to recruit entry-level positions or only supervisory level and up? Good question.
They'll be all level. So then again, you know, once you're matching, you know, the person that you want with your position, then you will do the interview yourself. So then you're offering whichever job you feel like it. So, you know, then it's up to you. The website is really matching your vacancy and the employees.
May I jump in on this?
Please
as well?
do. Please do. I was about to ask you.
Well, the graduates of the Hospitality Institute will be one category of employees. So you do have seasoned professionals that will be coming in from the resort side, as well as general hospitality professionals also applying. So you will get all levels.
All right. Thank you very much for answering that. That's here's a really good question from Robert. Will individual companies be responsible for organizing employees' flights? The answer to that is yes. If there are a number of employees traveling over at around the same time, could this be coordinated to achieve lower travel costs? What an excellent idea.
Yes, please.
Is everyone's in agreement with that? And of course, if you need to fly from Antigua, you know, to London and through to Jersey, then you know, it only seems fair that the plane goes back. And if it does, you know, obviously there's some of us would like to go to Antigua as soon as possible as well. So I'm just seeing a two-way street here already, and I'm sure Robert is as well. So thank you for that question. But I think that is it's a sensible idea, really, isn't it? If we've got numbers up to 100, you know, there could be some coordination on that. We'll look out for that. Questions coming in thick and fast, so excuse me for halting everything else just to get to the questions. There has been talk in the news about Jersey creating accommodation for seasonal staff. Do you know if this will be ready in time for this initiative? My sense is that it won't, but I'll pass that to you as well, Claire, because I think you're probably in agreement with me.
I would love to say yes. And I think I'm going to say we're hoping, we're working really hard in the background to do a lot, offering different solutions. We're talking to ministers. We have a group tomorrow with GR8 and other bodies to look at solutions. So we are really working really hard on those ones. And so please get back to me. Let me know if you're looking for accommodation. I'm also, you know, I've got people coming in and telling me they've got a few bedrooms or they've got this and that. So, you know, if you are looking, let me know so I'm aware and I can try to direct you. But we are working very hard in the background on that one.
Mm-hmm. It is something we've discussed with our colleagues in Antigua and then in the previous iterations of the MOU when we were coming to that point. But at this stage, certainly those businesses that have staff accommodation already, that's where we want to be right at this stage. Are Jersey salaries competitive compared to the salaries at home? That's a really good question. I don't know what the salaries are in Antigua, but I'm sure might know somebody on here that does. And I would imagine that the Jersey salary is competitive. It's not something we've talked about because, again, that is between the employer and the employee, and is part of what they work out. But I'm guessing we are on similar planes here, Patrice.
Yes, we definitely are on similar planes. So it remains an attractive proposition for all of our candidates.
Excellent, thank you. Do we have a ballpark figure of flight costs, assuming it's a return? Or is there a charter being arranged? Well, we don't know of a charter being arranged at the moment, but the suggestion has been put out there. As to the ballpark figure of flights to Antigua, I have my own figure in mind, which I've used on several occasions, but I'm sure that you know, that can be Googled very, very quickly and can be found out. But in terms, Claire, it's a good point actually. In terms of costs for flights coming across, these have to be met by the employer. In your mind, are you comfortable that this is a reasonable cost to be paid for what the employer is going to get, which is at the point where they're not being able to find the talent locally or in some areas around Europe? This is still a reasonable cost in terms of recruitment?
Well, I guess there's no other cost. So there's the cost of the permit, but they would have to pay that as well. And in some other, some other locations, they are paying for the flights as well. So I think this is one of the arrangements that we discussed. So it kind of is attractive for both sides. So you don't have a huge cost in terms of recruitment, and then the employees can come in and they can start straight away, kind of things. And Murray, what is the figure that you have in your head in terms of flight?
In my head, but somewhere between £550 and £600 return is where I'm thinking, and of course now people are going to say, I challenge you to get a return ticket for £600, and so I'm going to be in trouble straight away. But I've certainly managed to get return flights from London to Antigua before for below £300 each way. So I know they exist. They may not exist when you want them, and the price of flights can vary depending on when you book and where you're sitting. So I think that's going to be an interesting challenge, but certainly one that can be met. And as we said, there was a really interesting question earlier about chartering and about workers coming at the same time. Here's an interesting question about is it possible that we would find recruits? And this is one for Mrs. Messias and also Patrice as well, which is about friends that might be coming at the same time, people that know each other, who might both want to come. And it's very, very unusual that people come on their own. Sometimes people like to come because their friends are coming as well. So is there the opportunity there to ask two friends or a couple even, so they could come and share a room in staff accommodation? Is that something that could be in the criteria?
Oh, that is something we could certainly include as in part of the interviewing. In the interview process. So yes, I've known colleagues who are willing to ask and encourage one another to come. So it is quite a good question that we could pose. It just depends. Patrice, you have any thoughts on that?
Well, my initial thought would be based on the qualifications, but with respect to room and board, is it that there will be the option for multiple persons rooming? Because that's a conversation that we can have, upfront with employees. If it is that you can have a maximum of 2 or 3 persons, what does a rooming accommodation look like?
Yeah. It's a very good point, and I think that it will depend on lots of things. There are many variables in that, but certainly with accommodation in Jersey being one of the more difficult challenges that we've got in terms of the amount of accommodation, certainly couples or friends and shared accommodation is a possibility, but we'd need to know what it is, and that's going to differ. So engagement with the employers and engagement with the employees is going to be premium on this, and these are early days. We're finding our way. Just to clarify, there's no visa, just a work permit required. Can we get that confirmed? We have.
Totally confirmed, yeah. And just I may say, I just want to add something. They have been warned. So the permit, custom and immigration have been warned that we've got this going, and so they know that the next few weeks are going to be quite busy.
Good. Let's hope they are. Do employers need to provide the accommodation? Yes, they do. And if we offer accommodation, are we able to deduct the rent for this as we do for other employers? Yes, you can. There we go. That's been dealt with nice and quickly. I like it. Lee is telling me that it's £750 return flight, but then Lee probably flies more luxury than I do. But I'm sure, Lee, you're right. I'm sure you're right. Around 350 ballpark for Antigua to London returns is what I've seen before. Maybe that's including the Jersey flights. Someone says, I assume we should apply for a temporary permit. What would be supporting documents for this case?
So it's the same. It's exactly the same as what you would do a 9 months permit contract. You need exactly the same details. If you need to have the information again, I can put in the chat the link on our website for all the documentations that you need to apply.
Okay, and in answer to Ian's question, I can just say very quickly, which was about accommodation and food, it has the same offset as for other employees as well. So it is exactly the same. That's a flurry of questions that we had, 16 of them, one after another there. So you can see there's some great interest here already. Just in terms of the potential, I just wanted to touch on this for a bit. In terms of the Training Institute, you focus on hospitality. Am I right to understand there are other sectors? And I don't want to spend too much time on this because we are focused on hospitality today. But are there other sectors that you think this could grow from if we're looking in our crystal ball at 2023 and 2024? Do we think that there's opportunity for a wider remit here?
Patrice, I will jump in. I'm sure. I think our islands could develop different sectors for this. This is a pilot, so the pressure is on us to do good and to make it work. But I'm sure other areas in the service industry. Patrice, any ideas? Other areas? There's certainly, we are growing in finance as well. So we just. As you say, it's a crystal ball, I'm not sure, but our main focus here at our institute is really hospitality.
Sure.
Yeah. I would say maybe perhaps agriculture, maybe digital as well. Yeah.
Listen, we're discovering all of the common are's as we're having these discussions and the things that we have in common as island communities. And I think that's what's making this fascinating. There was somebody that mentioned 9-month permits require police certificates. These are not 9-month permits. This is a 6-month permission. So 6 months only, and police certificates are not required. So that one falls away as quickly as it arrives. Sure.
With respect to the local applicants, to ensure that only a permit is required and not a visa, everyone must hold an Antigua and Barbuda passport. So we're only accepting citizens of Antigua and Barbuda to the program. And that's eliminating any possibility of delay through a visa process. So we are taking that precaution locally.
Thank you. Thank you. Trying to think of everything is always going to be a difficult one, but thank you to everyone for their questions, for coming in here. The Memorandum of Understanding is quite a broad document, which was signed between the two governments of Antigua and Barbuda and the island of Jersey. And it does outline a great deal of the broad principles and the ideas behind all of this. I think it's fair to say that when it gets down to employment contracts, that's where I think we all step aside slightly, not completely, but we're there at all times. But that is between the employer and the employee in terms of the employment contract, which is under Jersey employment law, the same as anybody else. I just wanted to clarify that just from some of the questions that were coming in. So where do we go from here, Claire? What's the next thing? We just see that that portal grow with people registered on it?
Yes, absolutely. I think there was another question about the police certificate.
Yeah, just
about
yeah.
I will double, triple check on that one, and I'll come back to you just to triple check. So we've got, we're sure on that one. I thought we needed the police certificate, but Maurice said no. So
maybe I'm wrong and you're right on that. Yeah,
I'll double check for you. Yeah, I've got it on my notepad. So next. Who's already logged in? Come on, we want to see you all logging in. We want to see you all posting your vacancies. And this is it. That's the next step, really. Register, get your login, and then go back on it. Put all your vacancies, put, what business you are, what do you do. It is hotels, but it can be cafe, restaurants, as long as you've got an accommodation to welcome them, that's absolutely fine. Everybody is welcome. And we're here to support, really. That's what we're here for. So let us know if you've got any more questions after the webinar. Maria and I, we're on hand.
Sure. If there's anything that we are uncertain of, we'll make sure it gets checked and we'll come back to you and make sure that it's there. Is there anything that you would like to add at this stage? Because we're coming to the point where we're running out of time now. Patrice, firstly to you.
Thank you so much, Murray. And just a huge thank you to both our governments for their support and our High Commissioner office in the UK. Rest assured that we are on this end working our absolute best to ensure that we are vetting the right candidates to come to you. So both Mrs. Matthias and I have, we're scouring through all the resumes very carefully. And we're just really pleased at the opportunity to have our employees have this experience outside of Antigua and Barbuda. It certainly will be an enhancement for them, and I'm quite sure you will find a great experience for them in your operation. So thank you so much for their partnership, and we're certainly looking forward to this pilot year being a successful year for everyone. Thank you so much.
Very much indeed. Mrs. Matthias, I'm going to come to you for some final words.
Yes, thanks to Patrice. I really support what Patrice has just shared. We are here working together to give us the best group, the best first cohort. Patrice, I think we're going to try and make a head start on our applicants so that we really have some numbers there. And so we are just so grateful too for, the affiliation and the work of all our ministerial and the High Commission, as Patrice said. And we're just doing our best and just really want to see this first pilot a success. So the employers in Jersey can, post up, as Claire has indicated, because we will have some applicants who will be curious to see what are the offerings there in Jersey. So we have been educating them about Jersey, so everybody's on board and ready. Good. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much indeed. I'm delighted to say that Nude Food, don't get put off by the name, Nude Food, they're already logged in. They've said great webinar. Thank you. Thank you, Nude Food. Very good to have you with us. Claire, this is hopefully the start of something that we can all enjoy and see grow and be of benefit to the right. Lee just saying police checks are needed, so and Lee would know. So yes, police checks will be needed. That's something that goes in very early on, and that's something that happens with the employers. So we'll make sure that that is a circle which has been squared with our associates here in Antigua and Barbuda at the stage that we're going at the moment. So thank you very much indeed for that, and thank you, Lee, for your input on that as well. Claire, I was just about to come to you.
Yeah, so remember, it's a pilot, so we are all going to be learning from this pilot. We're all going to be learning from it to make it better and bigger every time. So ask questions. Perhaps we can't find a solution straight away, but we'll find, between all of us, we'll find the answers. And we, yes, we just want to make this really work for everybody. And it's an exciting time. And so if any questions, anything, where we all are.
Excellent. Claire, thank you very much indeed. Mr. Matthias, thank you very much indeed. Patrice, thank you as well. And to everyone who's joined us today, if there are people that that should have seen this and didn't get to see this, there will be a YouTube link that we'll be putting out, and we'll share it with the Jersey Hospitality Association as well, and with our good colleagues from Antigua and Barbuda, so that people can watch it back and get some sense of what's been happening here and what will be happening going forward. I wish you a good morning in Antigua, a good afternoon in Jersey. Thank you very much to everyone who's joined us, and do have a great rest of the day. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.